This one, the big one? Testing 1, 2, testing. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? You see the bar moving. Testing 1, 2. It's the live mic. It's not this one. It's the Facebook Live. We good? Testing 1, 2, testing, mic check 1, 2, mic 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. All right. Are we live yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have no phone at that time.
Check. All right. Just waiting for the thumbs up. I didn't get the thumbs up. I got the wait 1 second. So we're good now. Okay, we are live. All right. Well, good morning. Thank you all for coming to the Meet the Manager meeting. I've got lots of updates today. I will say that the last meeting ran a little over, and normally I have no issues with that, but this today we've got a long-term planning meeting directly after this, so I will have to, somebody yell at me if I'm going over in time. So, all right, let's see. So quick update on memberships in Vault. We have 967. Year-to-date sold 122, and this number is amazing because last year to date we'd only sold 19.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, absolutely. George and the sales team are working their tails off. Last year, total membership sold last year, 12-month period, 104. So we've already wiped out the previous year's sales. So awesome job there. Pond update. So maintenance crew's been working hard at installing the new fountain and removing unwanted plant life. So we did see some cattail growth. We did a treatment. Once those roots died, they were able to go out there and pull those out. So if you see any growth, stop maintenance and let them know. Let me know. I've been driving out there about 2 times a week to look at it. And then Dale Palmer, he's an owner and a landscape architect. He's drawn up some plans for the recreational area that we're looking at. So we're starting to get pricing on that. Really neat plans that he drew up. It's going to really be an area of community where people can gather and enjoy the pond. So we're currently pricing stuff included in that plan. And then Terry Parsons, last Meet the Manager meeting, he had talked about plant life. So we met yesterday, and he's pricing out plants of a good variety that we want in the pond, so we can go ahead and get those in there and establish those. So. Big shout out and thank you to both Dale and Terry for stepping up and helping with that. And then Ryan Farmer in maintenance is still pricing stocking packages, and we're looking for those angler packages. It's the entire food chain, everything from the minnows that the bass need to eat, everything to make sure the pond can sustain itself in one package. So, all right, the real reason everybody came today, I've got an update on food and beverage. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So the reason that we were struggling with nailing down a date to open is we didn't have staff. We now have 3 work campers. That's not as many as we need long term, okay? And it's going to require some staff from other areas to kind of chip in and make sure that we pull it off. And again, if anybody wants to volunteer or work camp, you're more than welcome to. But our open date is now May 14th. May 14th. And we'll be open from 11 to 2 and 5 to 8 Wednesday through Saturday. Now the long-term plan again is as we get work campers to extend those hours a little bit, and then of course open breakfast as well. So the May 14th is just the rock and roll, okay? It won't be the lodge breakfast yet, but we're working hard at getting the lodge breakfast up and going as well. And I'll have an update on that soon.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah. All right. Phase 2 is currently under a boil advisory. That's after a new water meter was installed. So that was a controlled break that we did to put in a water meter. And that is a big water meter. It's a 6-inch line. So just wanted to thank you for your guys' patience as we work to find these leaks that are on the property and get them fixed. It is inconvenient. but it's necessary to find these leaks. Sunday services will begin May 18th, so mark your calendars if you're interested in Sunday service. Long-term planning subcommittees are meeting today. At 11 a.m., the Infrastructure and Facilities Subcommittee is meeting, and at 1 p.m., the Member Engagement, Growth, and Technology team will be meeting, and then the main committee meeting will be May 9th. Another quick reminder that Rule 10B regarding trailers being parked on site has had its enforcement suspended until May 29th. And then we have work camper positions available in maintenance, housekeeping activities, and food and beverage. Our capital campaign is at $56,889, with our goal being $127,672. So still a lot of ground to cover there. Occupancy, these are some numbers that I'm pretty excited about. So year to date, we've had 9,150 RV site nights, and last year to date, we had 7,459, and that is through March. That does not include April. So that's 1,691 more site nights this year than last year. So that's awesome news. Trending in the right direction there. And then in March, rental unit occupancy was up across all units. So that's exciting as well. Pool opens May 23rd. So you may have seen crews out there acid washing it yesterday. That work is completed, and they'll move into repainting one base layer of the rubber paint tomorrow, as long as weather cooperates. And we've been told 7 to 8 days is the cure time, and if it rains, which we anticipate that it will, we basically just dry it up and add a day on the back end. So, but I think we've got plenty of space there to hit the opening day. Memorial Day ceremony, we'll have more information about the Memorial Day ceremony coming out soon, but it'll be May 24th. And that is when we will raise the flags as well. And then feedback survey. So we launched the feedback survey. It's been live for like over 80 days. We've gotten like, Amy, have you seen the numbers recently? It's like 20 feedback forms. So I need everybody's help in getting some feedback on the park. These QR codes are, like, there's one right there on the door, there's one on this door, there's one in the over at the Welcome Center at each station of the desk. There's one on the door there as well. There's one on every cabin. So as you're finishing up your stay, if you wouldn't mind, scan that QR code. If you don't like QR codes, that's fine. You go to our website, scroll all the way down, and the same link is available. You can just click on it. It brings up this landing page. And that page just has two types of kind of surveys or requests on it. One of them is a maintenance request. So if you see something wrong, report it, please. The other one is a feedback survey. If you click that, you'll have kind of two options. Once you click that, you can just leave us a star rating, like had a really bad time or a really great time. And then you can also provide more detailed feedback. So you can really get in there and say, I had a great experience with the front desk staff, or, I saw something here that I didn't like, or something I think needs to change is X. Please provide that feedback, because we're monitoring it and sharing it with all of our managers and staff. And 20 is not a really good sample size. So if you could just, as you leave, provide that feedback, it helps us grow and do better as a staff. And some very exciting news. So rooms with new beds, 700 king, 707 king. We've got new queen beds in 177, 179, 180, and 182. And new king beds will be coming to 710, 711, 702, and 703. So, and I've been told from the people that stay there that they're very comfortable. So, make sure I don't have any other updates on this next page. I don't think I do. All right. Also, there was feedback taken a couple, 2 or 3 meetings ago about how to improve the speed at the front desk. And the suggestion was to have designated lines, one for like just questions, one for checking in, one for checking out. We've taken that advice, so those signs are up. The feedback I'm getting from the staff is it's not, we're not seeing a huge improvement on wait times. And there's a little bit of confusion from owners of like if there's a specific line or not. And part of that's just it's new, right? So we need to give it some time. But I'll keep you guys updated on that as well. Has anybody had any experience with it? Do you feel like it went faster, slower? Faster? You thought it went better? Okay, good. All right. What's that?
I forgot to read the sign.
You forgot to read the sign. Yeah. It's new, yeah, it's new. Especially if you've been coming, for many years, you just jump into a line. Okay. All right, well, I will open it up to any questions.
I'll start us off. I was in the front office the other day, just this week, and there was a gentleman in front of me checking in, and he wanted to know where the storm shelters were in order to, if we needed to take shelter. And the front desk had no clue. And she looked at me, and I, of course, told him bathhouses and the theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, front desk needs to be aware of where those are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll check with Stacy and make sure we do have some new faces up there. And that's something that's covered in our new employee orientation, but there's a lot of new information, so maybe we'll do a better job at reinforcing that with them.
How long will the boil order be for phase 2?
How long is the boil order for phase 2? So that really depends on how quickly we can get tests back. It should be any more than 2 weeks, and we're expecting it won't be more than like 10 days. So, yeah.
Will they let us know when it's lifted?
Absolutely. Yeah, just like with any other boil order that's been...
It's not been notified that when it's lifted. We've been in one when there was a boil 5 years last time.
They probably will go around, but they put it on the site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're affected by the boil order, yeah, we certainly let you know, and then we let everybody know when it's lifted as well. So... Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name's Tim Hicks. My wife Chris. We're a little bit new to Treasure Lake. We're loving it, by the way. BTW, great. Is there plans in the future to maximize or increase the extended parking areas in some fashion? That's sort of one of the sells for us. Was like, oh, you'll be able to leave your trailer here. Well, we just keep using the temporary storage, but we certainly would like to be able to use more storage. And I think I'm like 172 on the waiting list, but that seems like that's a revenue stream that maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys are looking at that more, but that seems like it'd be a easy revenue stream to generate some funds. Because I see a ton of open parking out there. But.
So this question was, are there any plans to expand storage? And then there was kind of a second part there, like you see empty spaces there. And is there maybe an opportunity to generate more revenue from there? So the first part of the question is, this is not a this year, what are we going to do about it? This is kind of a long-range plan, which is why before we didn't have a long-range planning committee or a long-term planning committee. We established that committee. We've established subcommittees. This is their third meeting. Subcommittees, it's their first meeting. So that's something that's been brought up. Infrastructure is like top of the list. We have an infrastructure subcommittee that's going to be looking at those sort of things. There's definitely, we've got the space to expand that, and I agree. It's a revenue stream for the park, and there's obviously demand, and there's like a 2-year waiting list, and that's frustrating. And it's also income that the park is missing out on. I've been told, and again, I'm coming up on almost a year, and have not dug in yet to requirements for the city, but we were told at some point when we were discussing adding storage that the city would not allow us to add more storage unless it was paved, and there was all these requirements that made it less desirable at the time. That's certainly not a no, and that's not even I know that for a fact. That's hearsay. So once we get to those plans and say, yeah, this is something we want to do, then we would start looking into any requirements that the city may put on us to expand that storage. But
and just
I agree.
a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'll put that on the suggestion maybe. Is, as I asked, I inquired. I said, I see a few trailers back there. They're a bit in disrepair, maybe. And for the price of storage, I feel like some of those folks was probably, I'm just going to leave it here. Not going to monkey with it. Go somewhere else. And then I asked, and I said I understood the requirement is to maintain storage. You have to stay once a year. And maybe you increase that to say, you know what, if you're going to have storage 2 or 3 times a year, you know, to leverage that, because then it's for the people that are actually using the park and not just using it for inexpensive storage, because it really is inexpensive compared to some other areas.
So his point is, there's some trailers that maybe aren't staying on the park once. There are some that he also thinks the requirement should be changed to maybe more than once per year. We review that contract annually. We made a lot of changes to storage in the previous year, especially with the price point. So they used to be priced differently. They're all now at $500 a year, and 6 month is $250 every 6 months. So we're certainly open to looking at that for sure. As far as trailers that are on the site that you look and you say, man, that trailer maybe needs to be moved or hasn't moved in a long time. You know, for instance, there is one that has dry rotted tires, and there's no way that thing was pulled out last year. It's a process for us. So we have to contact the owner, see if they're able to get it moved. If not, and they give up their storage, then we have to figure out if we're going to get it towed. Are they going to deed it over to us if they don't want it anymore? And then I mean, it's a process. I do know that there is one in particular in storage that has been brought up a couple of times. I've been working with Michael directly on getting that issue resolved, and right now we've been unable to contact that owner. So it's top of mind for us. We're coming up on our next annual storage audit. Last year we used the Microsoft Forms to go through and audit every single site, and we obviously found a lot of things that needed to be fixed that got on the list, but they're not fixed yet. Both stuff that are relating to the site itself, like Treasure Lake property, and stuff with individuals with campers. So we send out letters, we make phone calls, and then we've seen some progress. I mean, it definitely looks better than when I first got here, but there's still a lot of room for improvement there. So have patience with us as we work through that. This next time that we do an audit, it's going to be in our maintenance system, our new MaintainX system that tracks everything, which will be really helpful because we got everything in one place. We can prioritize it. We can assign an employee to it. We can get updates on it. We can track it better. So excited to see that happen. And that's coming up this month. We'll be doing an audit toward the end of the month. So
Good stuff. Thank you.
yeah. Oh, come on.
So look,
Yeah.
more. Let's go
Yeah.
into this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm full of questions and ideas, and I'll add it to the feedback, right?
Yeah,
'Cause that's
absolutely.
a great place for it. One of the things that we noticed, again, fairly new, it's our second time staying here. Is there any, I don't know, meet and greet social activities for new members, old members just to meet? I see a lot of faces I keep seeing around when we come to the bingo and stuff, but everybody sits in their little niches. And
You're
maybe
saying there's clicks in bingo?
really? Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't know anything about that.
But just a way to maybe, I don't know if there's any social activities to intermix the new people with the fine folks that've been here for quite a while and they know the
Especially
game.
new members, yeah.
Yeah, and just to make everybody feel welcome. And it was, you know, I forget the young kid's name up on the stage yesterday. Austin, yeah, he came up. He made sure he talked to us a little bit, and that was good and stuff like that. And so just to make the new folks feel a little more part of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been brought up before. We would love to host maybe a new member. Me and Amy have talked about this, and Andy and Amy have talked about this as well. We don't have anything on the calendar yet. I know we discussed it. We don't have anything on the calendar yet for like a new member social or anything. Not yet. Okay. So here's what I'll do. Put this on the list. By next Meet the Manager meeting, we will have a date of a new member social that we will put out. Okay? Because I think it's really important. I think you're right. You buy a membership, you come in, and there you are. And you come to some events, but you may, be a little shy.
I just go sit at the table with everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm part of the group now. So.
I mean, it would be really neat to have eventually, like long term, if I could paint like, here's how a new member should come in. I mean, I feel like they should be like assigned a
Mentor.
A mentor, yeah, I don't know the name that you'd call it, but somebody that can introduce them to the activities that they would like, friend groups, activities both, park sanctioned and non-sanctioned. Yeah.
This young lady can go dance dances, enjoy ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to be part of our ambassador program when we start it up? You grab new members? No? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not RVing anymore, and I live close, but when we were traveling for 16 years, we'd come in, and I don't know who's here. I'm wondering if there is a board or a way to sign up and say, I'm here, these dates, and somebody that comes in, they want to say if their friends are here, if their friends' kids are here, etc. I don't know where or how that would be implemented, but
So she's talking about maybe some sort of check-in system where if you're an owner and you want to see, is my friend staying here, you'd be able to check and see if so-and-so is staying on the park currently or when they're going to be down next time. I'd have to give that one some thought. It's a great idea. I know Facebook isn't everybody's favorite tool to use, but it does have a check-in feature, but that's only for when you're here, not planning to be here. Let me give that some thought, though. That's a great idea. Again, back to making sure that we're connecting people with people that they enjoy being around. That's something that we could look at. Yeah.
I just want to make a plug. And it may be people in this room and it may be people watching, but we had our first movie night down at the Pavilion last night. We had a little drive-in movie. It was really cool. So thanks to George. And we're having another one tonight. So as soon as the parade is over, we're having a bonfire and movie down here at the Pavilion.
There you go. Bonfire and movie tonight. Don't miss it. What movie are you showing?
We're going to watch Mufasa if there's kids, and if not, we'll figure out an adult movie.
Okay.
Last time we had the Guardian.
How adult? It's a Nick's movie night.
Last night we had the Guardian.
Guardian, yeah. Yeah.
But if you have kids, we'll watch.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, sir. You weren't here when I gave you kudos.
I came in late, and this question may have already been answered, and maybe I shouldn't even ask it, but when's the rock and roll going to be open?
Yeah. Soon. It'll be open soon. Soon. It'll be soon. The 14th. And let me give you the hours real quick. I don't have them memorized yet. 11 to 2 and 5 to 8. See, they're on it. Wednesday through Saturday. And that'll expand once we get more staff. And I kind of chatted about that in the beginning. So, and then I gave you kudos and told everybody that you had stepped up to look at some plant species for our pond. So, yeah, everybody knows that if the plants don't work, it's your fault. So, no pressure at all. I've also listed all your contact information on the website so they can reach out directly to you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yes, sir.
On the $19 improvement money, it seems to me that's strikingly low what you've been able to gather. Do you expect it to get better maybe when the dues are being paid, or do you know what the resistance to it might be? And I know, not patting herself on the back, but I know several people that's given a lot more than that.
Yeah.
You know, so that it just seems to me strikingly low for what you get out of for $19.
Yeah, so he's just bringing up the fact that our capital campaign, we've got a goal of 127,000, and we brought in a little over 50,000. And as I said in the beginning, when we first put it out there, I expected not to see a huge return because we knew we were sending out with dues, and that we'd see a much bigger return. We saw a huge influx when dues were coming in when they were first mailed. I anticipate another influx toward the end of when dues are due, so toward the end of summer, or not the end of summer, but middle of summer. But I don't know what that number would look like. This is the first time I've kind of been through this, and we've marketed it the way that we have. As far as resistance goes, I have not heard from anybody that said, Stephen, I don't want to donate because I don't agree with it. Matter of fact, the only people I've heard from are people that say, I don't think we've raised enough. I'm disappointed in our ownership that we haven't contributed more, and most people that I talk to have contributed above the $20. So I can't really speak to resistance because nobody has told me directly this is the reason that I'm not supporting it. So I'm not sure.
I've heard people say that they're resistant because they haven't handled the funds properly in the past. What makes you do it now?
So he said he's heard from some people that there's resistance because funds haven't been handled appropriately in the past. So, and all I can do is say it's under new leadership, right? I can promise you that anytime we set up a separate fund and receive donations, those donations have to be used for what it's earmarked for. It's not it has to be. That's the way it was communicated. It's put in a separate fund on our balance sheet, like it's there, you can see it. And I'd hope that you all have the trust in me to know that that wouldn't happen going forward. I really can't speak to what happened in the past. All I can do is make sure it's done right moving forward. So if there is anybody that's sitting at home or in this room right now that says, I'd love to donate the $20, but I don't know what it's going to go to, rest assured that I'm going to make sure that it goes where it needs to go, which is capital improvements. Yeah. Thank you.
I think the past is past and people should go forward.
She said, past is past and people should go forward. That's our new slogan for the year. We're gonna get it painted. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there have been, there are issues, and there will still be issues. I mean, we're not going to get everything right 100% of the time, but we can get the really, really important things right. And making sure that money donated to a fund goes to that fund is a really, really important thing. So I say that just to give myself some buffer. There'll be mistakes, along the way, but it won't have to do with money. Yes, ma'am.
In this case, you spelled out where the money was going to go, and that was really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, and the reason we did that was the feedback that we got originally was, in the past they've asked for money, but we didn't know exactly, it didn't spell out where it was going to go. And we were very intentional this year about saying, hey, like here's the project cost, right? And we've divided that total project cost among the total membership, and that's the amount. That's where that amount came from. It was very specific. It wasn't just we need $100 or $200. It was we need this for this. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, sir.
How's the painting going?
How is the painting going? It's stalled out a little bit. Yeah, we had a couple other projects that popped up, the pool being one of them. And then, of course, continuing to identify and get these leaks taken care of, which a big part of that is installing these meters, has also become a priority. So my goal, so I've talked to maintenance and I've said, before we get busy, there's a few things that I would like to be done. This building, finished painting for sure. A new fountain in the front pond, because the fountain in phase 2 pond is amazing. Have you guys seen that with the lights? Look at it at night. It looks pretty cool. It didn't have any lights on last night. Well, it has on nights before, so I'll make sure that it gets. I don't know if there's a timer issue or what, but yeah, it looks really neat. So we'll get the front pond done as well with that.
With the lights, there was one night where the lights cycled through colors.
Come to find out that he was playing with the room.
Well, you have to, the security has a remote, I guess, and they have to set it to do that.
Yeah.
But he said he couldn't get it to set to do it constantly. It eventually does it so long and then goes to a solid color.
Gotcha.
But he said he didn't really know how to operate it, he was just playing with the remote.
Yeah. You get a new piece of equipment. Well, I mean, I don't think there's a training guide for that fountain that we can put our staff through, and we just
Instructions, the security the one turning it on,
yeah.
which sounded like it is, then they need to be told how to set it.
Yeah, I think he was going out there and figuring it out, and that's kind of part of the training. There's nobody on staff that's an expert at that fountain, so he's becoming the expert to train everybody else. So enjoy the light show.
He said there was an instruction manual that would help, but he didn't
Yeah.
know it came one.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, most of the time now when you order stuff, there's no instruction manual anymore. Yeah, that's the world we live in. So anyway, yes, ma'am.
The times that we've stayed here at Treasure Lake, I've noticed that the maintenance for the bathrooms have been taken care of like on an hourly basis. They come through and I praise that because it's so nice and clean. And then the security's coming around and making sure that each spot has been taken care of after the person leaves. So kudos to each staff area that's been taken care of.
Oh, thank you for that, yeah. They are working really hard, both maintenance and housekeeping. And right now, both maintenance and housekeeping are short-staffed. So it's even cooler to hear you say that because we're meeting the standard without a full staff. So, and if you do see something, because it's going to happen, even if we hit it every single hour on the hour, if somebody comes in 10 minutes after the hour and the bathhouse isn't as left as clean as it started, we won't know that. So let somebody know if you see something that you don't want to see in there, and we'll get it taken care of. So. Oh, the rest of the projects that I was talking about. Obviously, the pool. That wire that we have on the main entrance road with the little like pylons. That is an eyesore. It's like falling over. So I've asked I've thrown out a goal of, hey, let's try to get that done as well. Just some really good stuff that people can see when they come into the park being done. So, and we'll continue to work on painting the buildings. So we'll see that progress as well. Yes, ma'am.
Up by Pond 1, there is some fence damage. I saw a post about it on a different Treasure Lake site, and then I was asked about it again yesterday or last night. I guess it has some caution tape where it's missing a panel. Can we get that fixed?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
It's a vinyl fence.
Yeah, the final fence.
yeah. And I have people call me often and they'll say, hey, I see this thing and I want to know why it's not fixed yet. And a lot of times they don't like my response. So I just want to be really transparent with everybody. We have so many work orders that need to be done. You could give me 30 people in 2 weeks and we still would not get it done, okay? So my job is to prioritize. Now, a missing fence, that needs to be a higher priority. So thank you for bringing it up. But I just want to let everybody know that we have to operate within the resources that we have, both money, time, and staff. And high priority items, safety items have to take priority over other things. So it doesn't mean that none of that stuff ever gets done. We're trying to find a good balance between, making sure that the things that absolutely have to be fixed that maybe can't be seen are fixed, and then also the things that are highly visible are fixed as well. And that's a balancing act that we're constantly looking at. So the first step in that, before last year, we had no maintenance software. There was the way that it was tracked was somebody wrote it down on a piece of paper and it went in a file. So we've come leaps and bounds of where we were. Now, if you say, hey, there's a fence panel missing, I can actually go into Maintain X and see, has that even been reported yet, right? And if it has, what's the due date on it? And what priority is it set to? And if I get 5 complaints about it, then I can bump up that priority a little bit, because there is a little bit of, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? I mean, if 10 people have mentioned, hey, I see this and I want to see it fixed, I want to make sure that gets fixed. So I can bump that up in priority. Glenn keeps a close eye on Maintain X to ensure that we're meeting our targets and goals, both proactive and reactive maintenance. Right now, we could spend all of our time just on reactive maintenance and we would never dig ourselves out of the hole. So we've got to figure out how to balance that proactive maintenance, preventative service maintenance and checks on our vehicles, our cabins, our sites, along with the reactive fixes as well. So, yeah, it's a struggle. And I wish I could have 20 more people on maintenance crew and I could guarantee I could keep them all busy. But that certainly was not in the budget. So, yes, sir.
Well, with your maintenance crew, I get another suggestion. I'm all about solutions and I'm willing to help out. So, to improve the park. So when you have some of those smaller projects, And I know the first week we were here, unfortunately, we showed up and there was the cleanup day, right?
Yeah.
So maybe some of those smaller projects, you could create a list of those smaller projects. And the fence, I've seen the post, I can't find it now, but maybe, I'm sure there's a lot of handy people that could go out there and say, hey, we need to fix this fence. Let's get a volunteer crew together, go spend a couple hours in the morning and go mend the fence and paint it and do whatever needs to be done. And then I know that we're asking for, capital improvements. Well, I'd be willing to go to Lowe's and buy a fence panel for whatever, $20, and, consider that part of my helping the park and, the time and effort. And I would employ my wife to paint it.
He just volunteered you. Look at that. We've got a lot of work to do on our volunteer program. So, and Tim, he's a board member, Tim Wells, he brought up wanting to see a volunteer program that is a lot like you mentioned, where here's a list of all the projects that are, volunteer approved, because there are some things on the park that we just can't have a volunteer do. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff that a volunteer could do. So in the process of kind of building that and seeing what that looks like, the first step was having a well-run volunteer day, because in the past, they weren't as structured as like this one was very structured. You come in, we serve a meal, we have a list of projects. Every project has a lead that's a staff member, because oftentimes what will happen is a volunteer crew will go out to do something and they don't know who to contact or they don't have the tool necessary. So trying to provide some structure to that was kind of the first step. And I am looking at revamping our volunteer program where it can be meaningful work. Now, if you see something that needs to be done and you would like to help, you can still contact me or Glenn and say, hey, I've noticed this, and just have a conversation with him. Where is it on the list? Okay, well, that's something we're not going to get to for another 3 weeks. Is it because we don't have the workforce, or is it because we don't have the part, right? If it's because we don't have a part, it doesn't matter if we've got volunteers standing by, and I'm not saying this is the case with the fence, but, let's say we've already priced that and we've got it on the schedule and we know that it's ordered and it's coming in 2 weeks. Well, and there's nothing we can do until the part gets here, right? And I'm just using that as an example. So there are a lot of, like these lights. We looked at several different solutions because we didn't want to just throw something in there that wasn't going to work and throw, money at a problem without figuring out what the solution was. So, and we got new lights in here. They look great. Don't stare at them. So back to your original point, yes, I agree. If you're on park now or you're coming to the park and you're like, hey, I've got a couple hours on this day, let me or Glenn know, and we can find something for you to do. Like, I'm not going to turn you away, okay? Yes, ma'am.
This issue was brought up last week about the potholes on Forest Park side at the back gate. They've been repaired. It's all done.
They have been repaired. It's all done. The potholes. Take that win.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Your card, when you come in, your gate card, if you pay for 21 days, did they fix that gate card just for 21 days?
So they've been instructed to, she's asking about gate cards, and if you stay for 21 days, is your gate card only good for 21 days? They've been told to program the gate card for somebody's stay unless they request an extension. So
we went back and paid for our 9 buyback days. They never mentioned the card. They never said, you need to let us do your, so we come in the back gate, the card doesn't work.
oh no.
Yeah. So anyway,
Was it, let me ask this real quick, because the back gate got struck by lightning. So it might have been around that time. Nobody could use the back gate for a little bit. No new cards that were programmed. So I say that because they could have updated your card, but the gate card system at the back gate did not get any updates for like 2 days. So in that 2 days, if they programmed your card, the back gate didn't know that card number was allowed in, and it wouldn't let people in. And I know that we struggled with that for a couple of days to get the equipment in, but
back to the front desk, and she
extended it.
extended it, and then that was the first I understood. She said, do you want it just for your stay, or do you want it for 6 months? Because I told her, I said, we are coming back in another month. And she said, well, you can have it for 6 months. Well, I didn't know that, and I said, sure, we'll be ready, we'll give it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, ask for that extension if you'd like an extension on your gate card. because they've been told just to program it for the length of your stay. So unless you request otherwise. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to thank everyone who drives out the back gate and goes slowly down Forest Park Lane. Thank you. I want to ask the others who don't do that and be aware that we're backing out of our driveways. We sometimes can't see you come so fast. But thanks to those who are careful and look forward to slowing down a little bit. Thanks.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
while you're in the area, it was mentioned a minute ago about funds not used properly in the past. I don't know whether that's true or not. A lot of that stuff I think came from Facebook. But I would like to say that since you started at Treasure Lake, we have something that we didn't have before, and that's organization. I think you've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you. And I can guarantee you that it's easy for people to see all that and look at me, but I am only part of the solution and the fix, and it takes a huge team effort. And we've got some amazing managers and staff that come to the table to discuss a solution and then implement that solution. So big shout out to them as well. Yeah. I've got 10 minutes. I got a timekeeper back there flashing time at me. Yes, ma'am.
When they mow your site, those are big mowers. They can't get up close to some. Do they have weed eaters that you could borrow from the maintenance and do it yourself?
Yeah, if you would like to borrow a weed eater to weed eat something around your site, that's absolutely okay. Get with Glenn or myself, and we can get you something. You bring your own, okay.
Because last year they would mow, but didn't
Yeah.
mow grass, but they couldn't get up there because the mower was.
One of the things that we looked at, and I am not what's the name for it? What's the name for somebody that designs landscapes?
Landscape designer.
A landscape designer, yeah. And there's a name for it that's escaped me. Anyway, that's not my, landscape architect, but there's another, anyway. That's not my specialty, but we've got owners that are, and I know I brought up Dale a lot, and Dale has come in to help with the pond, but he's also come in to say, listen, I worked for a city for many years, and there is a strategy, right? When you're putting plants up, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, there's a strategy to ensure that there's not a high amount of maintenance that needs to take place. So every tree that we had, if it was mulch, we've got a position on staff, and all they do is weed eat the entire time they're here. So like 40 hours a week of weed eating. That's ridiculous, right? And it's not a problem we can solve today, but we can start taking steps today to make sure that maintenance level is reduced, because that's money out of the park that doesn't need to be spent. I mean, if we ensure that, like the trees have a mulch around them, so we don't have to weed eat around the trees. If we ensure that anything that we build new allows for easy mower access, where we don't have to mow kind of this close to it and then come back by with a weed eater. If there are areas and fence lines that we can spray so we don't have to weed eat, those are things that we have to implement. So we've already implemented some of those things, and we're very thought conscious about that moving forward. If we're going to do something new, that's a thought in our head. What's the maintenance going to be on this, landscape wise? Because that's a real cost. That's a payroll cost. That's a gas cost for somebody to go out there and keep that trend down. So be looking forward to seeing those changes as new things happen. We're going to be planning on hitting our major trees with mulch, and I mean, we've got plenty of trees to make our own mulch, and using mulch around buildings is not a good idea, so we're going to switch that to rock. It has to be replaced all the time. We're going to switch that to rock. So a lot of fresh ideas from meeting with him. Really, honestly, not my expertise. I'm like, man, you guys have this down to a science. So I'm going to steal all that knowledge and put it to use here.
Talking about the landscaping, we've done all these flower beds, and they put a fence up around it. I'm assuming that's to keep deer out. But I think the choice of some of that fence was not the best, because like those plastic snow fence, you can't really see the flower bed through the snow fence.
And they're falling down all the time.
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. We put a lot of work into having this beautiful, amazing, awesome flower arrangement, and then we put up a fence around it that's really hard to see through. So I've not tackled that problem yet, but I've noticed it driving around. Can you throw that on the list of things as well? We'll take a look at that. And they are for deer.
I asked the guy, I found him one day and I asked him, can I ask you a question? Well, sure, I'll try. And I said, up here, in the corner up here, is a really nice fence around that wagon and bike, and we can see through it and it looks lovely. But we have these dark green and you guys do all this work and effort and making this look gorgeous, and we can't see it. And he goes, this is what they told me I had to use. This is not what I want. This is what? This is what I was told to use. This is not what I wanted. And that's what he told me.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Who they is.
They.
I can promise you that. And probably what it comes down to is that's what we had on hand. And everybody's trying to be good stewards of Treasure Lake dollars, and somebody said no. But that's what, I mean, that's what feedback sessions are great for. If that's really important for owners to spend a little bit more money on fencing a solution that allows people to see it better, then let's implement that. I can promise you that I at no point in time said, you're not allowed to buy the fence you want, all right? But if we had it on hand and that's what was used, then I see the side of that of being good stewards of the dollar, but also we put money into those flower beds too, so. Yes?
Jan would like to know, will you be releasing the departmental breakdowns in the financials? January just had everything combined with no breakdowns.
Yeah, so when the finance committee met, we discussed what the financial package would look like. The by class breakdown was not included in that package. If I hear a lot of people say we absolutely want that included, then I'll bring that feedback to the finance committee and that can be adjusted. That's not a problem. It's something we have on hand if people want to see it. It's not easily printable, which I think was the main reason that it wasn't included, because it's a very long, every single class, which is now every single team in the park, has their own budgetary lines, and we track that separately. So, yep.
Next question. How do long-term campers handle getting their mail here?
By the letter of the rule, you're not allowed to receive mail here that's not medication or RV part related.
Do you get a mailbox in town?
Yeah, you get a post office box in town. Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a UPS box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody else would like to know, if they can ask maintenance or the main office if they can volunteer for a day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of goes back to what we're talking about. I want there to be a structured program where somebody can like go in and sign up, sign a waiver, do all the things that are really necessary. But I'm not going to say we can't take volunteers because I don't have a program built. Like if you contact us and say, I've got 5 hours next Tuesday and want to donate some time, where do you want me? We can find a project for you. The only thing that's hard is if you show up the day of and you say, hey, I've got an hour starting now, put me somewhere. Well, we've got plans in motion for the day, and I mean, there's stuff going on, and we'll do our best to accommodate. But that can be more of a burden and a hindrance than a true help. So if you want to volunteer, give us a couple days notice, what your time frame looks like, what you're interested in or what you have skills in, and we can certainly find a place for you. Long term, though, I would love for there to be like a volunteer program. So, and we had even talked about using a communication solution that's a little bit different. We've got an app that we use internally for our staff communication. It's kind of like a texting app. We could also use that for a volunteer list where people that wanted to volunteer could just put their name in the hat and be on that kind of text chain. It's not a kind of back and forth, it's a one-way communication. And then we could say, hey, we need volunteers tomorrow for X project. And then people that were on park and wanted to participate in that could just text that number back and we'd be able to build our list from that. So that's just one of the ideas that we're throwing out. But it needs to be a well thought out, organized program eventually down the road. I just got signaled that I got 2 minutes. I think we're already down to 1. Yes, ma'am.
Is the ground sprayed for ticks?
Is the ground sprayed for ticks? No. They're bad this year? Okay. Jot that down as well. We try to use, what do you guys think about having like 300 free-range chickens? We could sell the eggs, we'd make a fortune. I'll check into that.
I just sprayed with a bug killer that kills ticks and fleas, but is supposedly safe for the rest of the bugs, and I'll bring that name.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. She'll bring the name to me. She says she's got a spray that won't harm animals, pets, and other things. So, yeah, or bugs. The good bugs. It keeps the good bugs. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to get over to the Long Range Planning Committee. I appreciate you guys for coming. If you still have a question or didn't get answered and you want to meet with me, as always, my door's always open. I got cards on the end of that table there. As many in this room that I'm looking at can attest, if you reach out to me and say, I want to meet, I will meet with you. So don't be afraid to do that.